Have you ever asked yourself why, even with a heart full of love for God, you often find yourself walking alone? Why friendships seem distant and meaningful relationships feel out of reach? Today, we're going to unravel the mystery of why chosen ones, those called for a purpose by God, often feel so alone. This solitude, though difficult, has a divine purpose, and by the end of this message, you'll see that this path isn't one of isolation, but of divine preparation. God has set you apart for something extraordinary, and your journey is anything but ordinary. Stick with me, because what may feel like loneliness is, in truth, a profound connection to something greater. Throughout the Bible, we see God setting His people apart. Think of Moses, who spent time alone in the wilderness, Elijah, who retreated to the desert, and Jesus, who often withdrew for solitary prayer. This pattern of solitude is not a coincidence. God calls His chosen ones into moments of quiet, of stillness, so He can work in them without distraction. When God sets you apart, He's doing it to deepen your relationship with Him. So, if you're asking, is God punishing me? Let me assure you, He's not. Instead, He's preparing you for something only you can do. And that preparation sometimes requires a season of solitude. One of the reasons chosen ones are often alone is because God is building our resilience. Life's pressures can only be endured when we rely on God's strength alone. When we find ourselves without friends or relationships to lean on, God becomes our sole support. He is refining our faith, ensuring that we look to Him and not others for guidance. It's like a spiritual workout. Think of it as God's way of making you stronger. You're not alone by accident. You're in a season of spiritual training that requires total reliance on Him. Another reason God sets His chosen apart is to protect them. He knows that certain relationships or friendships can pull us off course. As a result, God may remove people who would only distract you from His calling. It's not rejection, it's protection. Remember, God is guarding His plan for you. If you ever wondered why certain people left your life, or why you couldn't form lasting connections, consider that God was protecting your purpose. He's filtering out those who could interfere with the path He's laid out for you. Just like gold is refined by fire, God refines His chosen in solitude. In solitude, chosen ones also become beacons of light. When God sets you apart, it's often to make you an example for others to follow. People may not understand your journey, but in time, they'll see the strength and joy that comes from a life dedicated to God. You become a lighthouse in a dark world, a beacon pointing others to Christ. It's like God's put you on a mountaintop, and from there, your light shines brighter. Even if you're feeling isolated, know that your faithfulness is inspiring others in ways you might not even realize. This path isn't easy, and sometimes it feels lonely. But think about the life of David. During his time alone in the wilderness, he wasn't just hiding. He was being shaped into a man after God's own heart. God uses solitude to transform us, to draw us closer to Him. In these quiet moments, God teaches us obedience, patience, and trust. When you find yourself alone, remember that God is not wasting a single moment. He's using it all to build you, to mold you, and to prepare you for what lies ahead. Now, maybe you're asking, but why do I have to go through this? That's a fair question, and I get it. This journey of being set apart can feel unfair. But here's a comforting truth: God's plans are greater than ours. When He sets you apart, it's because He has a purpose only you can fulfill. You're not being isolated, you're being positioned. Positioned to receive His wisdom, His strength, and His guidance. This season of solitude is God's way of preparing you for the destiny He's laid out for you. As we close, I want to encourage you to embrace this journey. You're not walking it alone. God is with you every step of the way. He's shaping you, strengthening you, and setting you apart for His purpose. Remember, you're not just another person, you're one of His chosen. And if this message has resonated with you, and you're ready to dive deeper, I have a video called Why Chosen Ones Suffer the Most that explores the purpose behind the trials you face as a chosen one. Just click the link on the screen to join me for this powerful message.